So, although it's a Christmas gathering, Christmas party, we also have an exam today. And some children are taking their exam. They are, Buddhism class exam. Bante Metta is conducting the Buddhism class exam today. So they. Yeah, she did. Okay. Okay. Again, welcome everyone for the second session. I hope that you all enjoy the food, right? And we're really happy and really glad to see your participation and your partaking of the food. It's really gave us so much happiness. And thank you again. So we will start our second part, and right now we are going to discuss a little bit about this topic on true value of human life. True value of human life. And I think since we have younger humans here, I would like to ask them a few questions about what do they know about the special nature of human beings when we compare human beings with other beings. What do you think as human beings, how human beings are different from other beings? Any idea? Yes, Juliana?
Some people have different opinions.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I was thinking about, how as a human being, as a species, as a human being, how we are different from, let's say, other animals, other beings. Any idea? Some people think that human beings are more intelligent than other beings, like, for example, more intelligent than horses, more intelligent than, other animals. What do you think? Are we more intelligent than animals? No? Who are the other intelligent animals?
Sometimes people may say ourselves, Nandi.
Yes. Yeah. Who went around and asked from animals, right? Are you intelligent? Yeah, we can claim to ourselves, right? Yeah. So usually people tend to, human beings to tend to think that they themselves are different from other beings in terms of intelligence. And the other one is in terms of, use of tools. Human beings use a lot of tools to do their stuff, but animals do not use tools. Have you seen animals who are using tools to do their stuff? Yes, actually, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they use the sticks. Yeah, some animals and hmm? Oh, get that. Yeah. So for some time we thought that we are different from other animals in terms of intelligence and in terms of use of tools. But I think more you research on animals, you're discovering that actually they are also doing those things. Even the like social relationship, they also have some the connection to each other, some social relationships. And there was also argument about learning, like human beings learn, animals do not learn. They simply follow the instincts. But but they can also dogs learn, right? Yeah, dogs learn. So, uh, huh? Dolphin, yeah, dolphins and elephants, yeah. So it's very difficult for us to really, distinguish uh, mm, in terms of, exactly, how we can be different from other animals. So I think, the more we learn about all the species and creatures, what we are learning is actually we are not the same differently, but our difference is not in the sense of we are whole different category, whole different kind. Our difference may be in terms of degrees. you know uh, we use more tools than the other animals, yeah. So in terms of degree there can be a different, but not in terms of in whole different kind of category. Therefore, although we tend to think that, oh, we are a special being, we are a special category, a special species, we are not. uh, of course there are differences. So uh, one important difference would be, as human beings, we can imagine and we can plan, and we can imagine a situation that is not present, that is not currently available to us, but we have imaginative power. So we can imagine of a situation that is not here, not around us, and that imagination helps us to maybe plan, maybe to achieve that what we imagine gradually, and that helps human beings to like move forward. But sometimes this ability of imagination we also use not for creative purposes, but sometimes we use the ability to imagine to imagine the worst. Right? And our power of imagination is a blessing, but can also be a curse if we do not use it properly, because it can help us to create more like imagine the worst, and have anxiety and fear. So therefore we had to use it very mindfully. um, uh, so today I would like to talk briefly about how in the teachings of Jesus Christ, um, like how the human value is considered very precious, very important, and how the Buddhism also see the human life as very special and very important. So in the morning I talked about parallel teachings. If you read the Holy Bible and Buddhist text, you will be able to find so many common teachings. But of course, there are unique, distinctive teachings too, because they are two different spiritual traditions. But one thing I would like to share with you is what we call golden rule. Have you heard about golden rule? Golden rule. You know the rule, right? Rule. The golden rule is the rule, or maybe the guidance we can find in all religions. One teaching, one lesson that we can find in all religions, and we call it golden rule. Do you know what it is? Golden rule. I think that I would like you to memorize it. Okay, and this is really important lesson. This golden rule, and it is. Let me see. Jesus Christ said, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." You understand that? Do to others as you would have them to do to you. Ian, do you understand that? Can you say in your own words? Do to others as you would others to do to you. Can you say it?
How you want to be treated.
Say again?
Treat others how you want to be treated.
Thank you. That's great. That is the golden rule. That's what we find in the Bible. In the Buddhist Dhammapada, in the Buddhist text, we find consider others as yourself. Consider others as yourself. And that's also saying that as I am, so are they. As they are, so am I. Drawing parallels to yourself, neither harm nor get others to harm. So this is the golden rule. Like you should treat others as you would treat to yourself. What you like, I mean, what if you don't like anything, if you don't like to be hurt, if you don't like to be harmed, and it's all other beings are also the same. So now you understand the golden rule. Yeah, golden rule. That's the most important rule for all living beings, all human beings. All religions try to teach us that in different languages, in different ways. So we have to use ourselves as an example when you want to treat others, when we want to care for others. Okay, so remember that that's the golden rule. And the other one, there are so many, so many other parallels that is related to that really in a human virtue. Mm. And here, for example, in a message of love, as I said in the morning, in we find in the Holy Bible, this is my commandments to you. That my commandments to you is that you love one another as I have loved you. And no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And that's the Gospel of John. So if you read, the loving kindness sutra, that we recite every Wednesday, you find this: just as a mother would protect her only child at the risk of her own life, even so cultivate a boundless heart towards all living beings. Let your thoughts of boundless love pervade the whole world. So we can see, this, repeated message and encouragement. And but on the other hand, I think in both teachings we also have this teaching on understanding our own weaknesses. And so with regard to that, there's an interesting, very parallel teaching how it is mentioned in both teachings that how it is easy for us to see others' weaknesses and other faults and not ours. Do you remember a praise from the Bible? It mentioned about how easy for us to see other faults. Can someone share with us? Yes.
Take the splinter out of your, or take the log out of your own eye before you take the splinter out of somebody else's.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me read again. Yeah. That is in the Gospel of Matthew. Yeah. Judge not that you are sorry. Judge not that you be not judged. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? So, and in the Dhammapada again, the Buddhist text, Buddha said that fault of others is easily perceived, but not that of oneself is difficult to perceive. A man winnows his neighbor's faults like chaff, but his own fault he hides. So I think based on that, I think we can start this discussion. What is truly the value of human life? So here we see the emphasis on understanding, our weaknesses, and at the same time, understanding the potential that we all have. So, from the Buddhist perspective, actually, the human human life is considered precious, but not in the sense of like we are like higher than anyone else, but it's considered precious and also considered very rare. Because the Buddhist understanding of the human life is that human form is only one form of life. There are many other forms of life. Life can exist in many forms, including humans, animals, and also like other invisible forms, including in forms of ghosts and celestial beings. And there are many other forms that the life can exist. But in order for someone to be born in the human realm, in human form, is considered very rare. because it requires so much of other conditions to be fulfilled, and so much of evolution of the consciousness to be in human form. So by the fact that we are born as human beings means that it's a very, very rare opportunity and also very precious opportunity. Yes.
Do you think us beings are doing better since there's more humans on the planet than ever before?
So are we doing better, you mean?
Yes, as a species, as beings.
In some respect, definitely. In some respect, I think, because few centuries ago, you know, if you are powerful, you simply go and conquer the other country. You can make other people uh, slaves, and you conquer the other country and you bring them back. Yeah. So, so I think at least right now, we have some arguments, but we do it in a very, very indirect ways. Um, I don't think that is the perfect, but I think if you really compare, because I was, I was reading some of the history, particularly history of India, what happened in a few centuries ago, and it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant, and people lived in fear all the time because there was no acceptance of sovereignty of any country. There's no fixed borders, and if anyone is powerful, if they have enough thugs with them, they can simply go and conquer the other country. There's no rules, there's no principles, there's no respect to sovereignty of any nation, any people. There were no nations actually. Only the powerful people were there, and of course there were good times, but when you think about that, yeah, and there's no property rights, for example. Ordinary people didn't own any land, any property. Everything was owned by aristocrats and maybe kings. If you want to live, you can live and you have to pay tax. Yeah. That was the kind of life many people lived for many, many centuries. So in that case, we are in a better period actually. Doesn't mean that the best, yeah, better period. Anyway, but the Buddhist understanding is slightly different because it is believed that in order to have this human form, you had to do a lot of good karma, particularly to have this functioning senses with our sense organs and healthy body. Is a gift. Is something that we is have come to us due to some practice, due to some previous good conditionings, good karma. So therefore it's considered a very precious, and at the same time it's considered very precious because the human form gives the best chance for someone to become enlightened. When you think about other realms, the way the Buddhist world the worldview sees that in many other realms you have either more happiness or more suffering. Human realm has this nice balance of happiness and pain, or pleasure and pain. That nice balance of pleasure and pain gives us the opportunity to see the reality. For example, celestial realms, the beings who have been born due to very, very extremely good karma, they have helped, they were kind, they did done a lot of kindness to others, and did a lot of good things, and those beings can be born in the celestial realms. So they are very fortunate realms, and everything is provided, and you don't have to rely on the physical food because most of the animals and human beings spend a lot of their time to to eat, to 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 feed ourselves, right? Uh, but for the celestial beings, they have a very simple form of food. They don't have to work so hard. They have a lot of leisure, a lot of good time, and many things are very comfortable. And as a result of that, because there's so much of pleasure, so much of happiness, they don't bother about suffering. They don't bother about the reality. They don't bother about changing anything. They have taken things for granted. This can happen to our own some well-to-do families, well-to-do people also. They don't take things serious. Like everything's very superficial. They don't really understand the real, um, nature of the life. So that can happen to celestial beings. Although they are fortunate, they are a lot of pleasure, but they can be easily fooled by that condition and stay blind. And then, but those realms are not permanent. Those realms are not permanent. They are there until the power of their good karma. When their good karma, the power of the good karma is exhausted, they'll be back to different realm. But until then, they don't pay attention, until the last moment. And it says that, they don't even see the, death most often. Only during the last few moments, they start to feel, because they are, old age, their aging is not gradual as us, it's sudden. So therefore, they don't notice at the beforehand, that they are dying. Only at the last moment they realize that, oh, I'm also dying, but no time to do anything. But still there can be celestial beings who actually seriously think about the life. But because of so much of pleasure, they don't. Uh, I mean, less opportunity doesn't mean that no opportunity, but less opportunity for them to be serious about life. And on the other hand, other realms, including ghosts and animals, there are a lot of pain, a lot of lot of pain and a lot of struggle just to survive, just to find food is the only struggle they make. And because of that, so much of pain and fear, and have to live in this in this state of tension all the time. And because of that, too much of pain and too much of trouble, they don't have space in their mind to think about real nature of the life. So in both sense, there's less chance for those beings to be enlightened, to evolve beyond who they are. But human beings have this balanced presence of pain and pleasure. So therefore, we have this opportunity. We recognize the pleasure, we recognize the happiness, we recognize uh, the um, the the bliss in our life, and we also recognize pain and suffering. And then we get the more accurate picture of, of the life. And therefore, we, as human beings, we have a better chance of paying serious attention what this life is about, and actually what is happening here, and who's this being, what is really happening here. And there's a big chance for human beings to take interest in looking and searching. And that is why the Buddhas appear in the human realm. Although the Buddhas, the enlightened beings, teach other beings, but Buddhas appear in the human realm, because that is the best form that anyone can evolve, and then develop the consciousness. So in that way, it is considered very precious. But at the same time, because of this perfect nature of the sense organs and our consciousness, and it is not easy to become a human being. So you talk about increase of human population. That means that many are doing a lot of good thing. I mean, the good karma. That is why we have a lot of human beings, um, because it is there's a simile given in the Buddhist text about rare nature of human life. We simply take this life for granted. We because it was gift, like a gift for all of us, right? And but there's emphasis in Buddhist teachings to think about this rareness of this human form. When you think about all the millions and billions of other forms that we can access as life. And this is the simile. It's given that there is a vast ocean. There's a vast ocean, very huge, and one person throw a yoke with a hole in it to this water, but that yoke is floating. And when the wind flows to the south, that yoke will move to the south. When wind blow to the north, the yoke will move to the north, in the same way to the east and west. So this yoke is floating all around the yoke with the hole. And it's floating all around this big ocean. There's one turtle living in the ocean. And this turtle comes out of the water once in every 100 years. All the other time, he just happy in the deep in the ocean. He only feel like coming and having to see some sun to the ocean. This is a simile, okay? Only in once in 100 years. And Buddha asks, what would be the probability that this turtle coming out from after 100 years will happen to what you say happen to pop up from the whole of that yoke that some person has thrown to the ocean.
That's also he's blind. No?
I know exactly, Bante. He's one eye blind. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Bante. Yeah, yes. That's the story. Yes, that turtle is one eye. One eye is blind, so it's not has it doesn't have a good eyesight too. So what would be the chance that turtle who comes out after 100 years will pop up, will put his neck from the hole of that yolk that is floating all around? What would be the probability? Extremely rare, right? Extremely rare. Extremely rare. So all these conditions had to be right exactly at that time to happen to that. That turtle is coming after 100 years. This thing is floating all around, just aligning of everything. The whole ocean has to be aligned. Everything has to be aligned. The timing has to be aligned. With all things are aligned, where in a very, very, very rare opportunity, maybe like the zero like 0.001 time, there'll be a chance that this turtle will put his neck in that hole of that dog. Buddha said that for us to be born as human beings, there was such a alignment of so many factors. Our parents, and so many other things. And I mean, what he considers not only as human, but as human beings with function and sense faculties, and then have enough self awareness to look into one's spirituality, and then also the presence of the teachings, guidance, because they not in every time in human society we had guidance, guidance for wisdom. There were not wisdom teachings every time, right? It also takes some time for human society to progress and have some wisdom. We talk about Excel age, right? Only about like about 7th, 6th, 5th centuries BCE and all the way to Common Era. We call it Excel age, where all the wisdom, all the insights, all the great teachers appeared in the world. So we have to think about that. This life that we have got is such a precious, rare thing. Whenever you are going through any difficulty or any pain, just remember that I am a human. That itself should be enough for us to be content. As long as I can communicate with others, as long as my senses are functioning, as long as I am a human being, that itself should be enough. All other things are additional pleasures, additional conditions. Because this form of life is so precious, because we can do so much. I will come to that. So I think that's a good reminder for ourselves. Whenever we feel depressed or upset, things are not happening, in a nice way, whenever you feel, upset, just think about, I'm a human being. I'm a human being. This is a very rare and precious way to be. I could have been in many other form, but just to be a human being, and having this, human abilities is so precious. So let me go to so in that case, actually, I would like to share with you from the teachings from the teachings of the Buddha, and what I would like to see as the true value of human life. True value of human life. Of course, we have a lot of gifts in us, but I think true value for human life is our ability. There are few certain abilities. Of course, we have ability um, to produce culture. We have aesthetic ability, like we can appreciate art, we can produce art, and all these things are specifically distinctive human capacities. But I think these are the things that I would like you to remember. The true value of human life is our ability to be self-aware, self-awareness. Like as human beings, we can become aware of our own being. We can become aware of our own mind. We can become aware of our own thoughts, our own actions. We can have self-awareness. And many other beings, will function, they mostly respond to the immediate environment, but very rarely they get the chance to reflect on what they did later, right? So the human has this special ability. Self-awareness is one. And then as a result of that, because of self-awareness, the next ability we can develop is can be called self-control. Self-control. That's a special human ability too. Animals, whatever things present to them, they will react, right? And they have no self-control. They don't consider where they are. If they're hungry, they do it. If they feel sexually attracted, they will do it. And they simply act out of the instincts. Very rarely they will have control. And of course we try to teach them to our pets, and you will have the meal and wait until I say, right? So you develop some kind of self-control in them too, but but human beings have that ability capacity. Doesn't mean that we are always self-controlled, but we have that ability, self-awareness and self-control. As a result of that, and then the third one related to this would be self-growth or maybe self-development. As human beings, we can grow, we can develop, we can die as a better version of ourselves than we were born. It's not easy for other beings to do that. You will die with the same set of skills, same set of status as you were born in most cases. But human beings, we can upgrade ourselves. We can have upgraded version of ourselves, and from through our own training. So self development. So those are the three things I would like to mention as really specific worth or maybe true value of human life. Do you remember the three? First one is self awareness, and second one is self. Very good, Maitri Sally. Yes, self control. Yeah, very good, self control. The last one, self development. Self development. So so we should always think about that and remember that and the more we become self-aware, the more we get ability to control ourselves, but not only control ourselves, actually even to not to control but manage the reality of our life. As human beings, we have the capacity to make things happen. Make things happen. We have the capacity to be develop self-aware and act in a way that will bring whatever goodness we want to achieve. Human beings can do that. Human beings can think and plan and then do that. If you want happiness to happen here, can't we do that? Right? We can purposely, consciously talk to each other. We can purposely, consciously endure each other's weaknesses, right? And we can make happiness. We can make happiness happen here, right? We can make peace happen. We can. So that's a special ability that human beings have. In any relationship, any community, even in our own life, we have that capacity that if we have more self-awareness and self-control, we can make things happen. Not easy, not easy because we can be driven by our previous habitual patterns. Just like animals, we can be driven by the environment. That's normal because we are also animals. If the environment is not pleasant, we can be stressed, we can be angry, we can retaliate. We can justify our violence, our aggressiveness. Is it because those people behave like that? So I also have the right to do that. So that's okay. That's normal. That's not being human. That's being one of the living beings. But as a human being, we can do differently. We can make things happen. We can produce things. And as from the Buddhist perspective, we can also produce good karma, which will decide, the reality, decide the nature of our life. We can produce good karma, like we can continue to do good things, and help others and sacrifice others and control our own defilements, and so have a discipline in our life. So we can produce good karma that will create a reality, a life for us. So in that way, actually, human beings have such a capacity to be our own maker, so to speak, because our life is not a finished product. It's not like completely done. There's no fixed destiny to anyone's life. Of course, there's certain projection, based on how you have lived your life so far. So there can be a project. Okay, if you continue like this, definitely this will be your destination, right? But anytime we can change those things. So there's no fixed destiny. So we are the maker. Our life is in the making. Our life is still in the making process. So, but we have this capacity to produce, to make our life. So don't you think that that's a great gift, extraordinary gift, that we can make things happen? Like sometimes environment can be supportive, sometimes environment can be not supportive, but still we can make things happen. It's an extraordinary gift as human beings, we have got. So in the process of evolution, and most of the evolution was determined by the environment, right? How we react to the environment, right? So what you call the natural selection, right? Yeah. Environment and need to survive. Those things are the ones that have moved all species forward. But as human beings, we can do things differently. So I think that is how we have built a culture. We have built collaboration with other human beings, and that's how we kind of communicate our knowledge to our younger generation. And we are evolving because we can make things happen. Imagine that is a human being, let's say, who were born in like maybe 5 centuries earlier. Somehow, if we bring a human being to this present society, he'll be fully confused, right? And it will not make sense what is happening here. But animals, who lived 500 years before, if you bring that animal to the same animal kingdom, he will simply pick up things. But human beings have come a long way, and therefore we have to communicate our culture, our knowledge, our we call collective knowledge to our future generation. That is what we are doing in these schools. You are going to schools to learn many, many 100 years of knowledge. Human beings have done a lot of experiments that gathered so many knowledge. We are so lucky because for those people to get that knowledge, it took 100 years for them. But right now, you get it 40 minutes. I mean, how long is the one period? 40 minutes.
I don't have a period.
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
he has a period. Yeah. And what do you have? Like you have one teacher, only just one teacher,
Yeah.
five teachers,
I also have
five teachers. So do they? I mean, do they do? Don't they take turns to teach you? Isis, how's happening in your school?
nothing.
I mean, how many teachers do you have?
Like two.
Two. Okay. What they teach?
They teach. My math teacher teaches math.
Math and then science and English, right?
Yeah, and my spelling teacher teaches spelling.
Spelling. Okay. So do they have different time slots to teach those things?
Yeah,
So how long one teacher teaches?
like
1 hour or less than that?
like two, like 1 hour and 20 minutes. When
Oh,
they teach
your periods are longer. Okay. So one teacher teaches for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and then the next teacher comes.
Yeah,
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. You know how long it took for people to, come up with spelling, come up with letters? Originally, people didn't write. It took many thousands of years for them to come up with, writing. But you learn it in 1 hour. So, so you are so lucky. You are getting the knowledge that human beings have produced for many, many, many centuries and are all packed together, and you are getting it. You have to be very glad. I got it too. But now you are getting more than us. Yeah. So therefore, we have to be very, very glad. So that's other. That's why, because we have this ability to make things happen. Yes, we have ability to self development. We are moving forward. Hopefully, not always forward. There can be sideways too. So when we decided to produce nuclear weapons, it's not to, definitely not a progress path was progress.
That was walking backward.
Huh?
That was walking
Backward. Yes. So there were some moments that we have worked backward, and sometime we meant to work forward, and we have realized that actually we have gone sideways. So we had to be very, very mindful of that. So but anyway, so I would like you to to encourage you to remember that our the true value of being human is this special ability that we start from our self awareness, and we should use it as much as possible. We can be aware of our own thoughts, our own words, and our own speech, and we can become aware of that. We can evaluate whether the way I speak, whether the way I think, the way I behave, is it benefiting to myself and others, and we can have that self awareness, and that is the basis for our growth, our truly being human. If we are not really paying attention to any of our thoughts or action or deeds, we are not enjoying being human. We may be human in physical form, but we are not really enjoying, we are not really benefiting from being human. So self awareness is the key, and from there, self control. We can also go self mastery. We are not simply act out of instincts. We are not simply act out of the immediate environment. We are not simply reacting to situation all the time. Although situation demands, to for us to act in a particular way, if it is not really helpful, beneficial, we have the power to control or navigate it. And the moment any occasions that you everything all the conditions are there, and you have the good opportunity to lie, and you have good opportunity to like hurt someone, all the situations were there, and yeah, and you have full right to do that. But because of your self awareness, you become aware of that. You realize that this is, although yeah, this is the usual way to behave, but this is not ultimately going to be beneficial. You control yourself. You are a human being at that moment, in real sense. Don't think there is a failure. Those don't think that's but that is being human. That's self control, and then as a result, we will grow uh, day by day, and then hopefully our growth can help the next generation also. But whatever training we are doing to our human consciousness will be the real development, and we will continue from there, right? Whatever knowledge, whatever qualities, we are born, because we are born as human beings, we already have some level of loving kindness. We also already have some level of compassion. We already have some level of wisdom. But those things will not remain the same. We can still grow them. Our compassion would be, good, but it can grow. It can grow bigger and bigger. Our wisdom can grow bigger and bigger. So therefore, the growth of these qualities is the really true value of being human, because the moment that we somehow, come to end of the life in human form, we should be able to really be happy that I was truly human and I was truly make a development to this consciousness. And I use my opportunities to be in the human realm to grow these qualities in my consciousness. Grow this compassion more than that. Grow this wisdom more than that. And so when you end the journey as a human being, we are dying as a better person than we were born. We came to this world. So that is the human beings have that ability to do. So I wish that remember that true value. Again, remember the three value of being human. First one is self awareness. Second one, self control. Third one, Juliana. Third one. Third one. Self
I know it, but I forgot the word.
word. Yeah, you can say with your own words.
Oh,
Any word, similar word.
I don't know any similar
Hmm?
words. I don't know any similar words.
Yes.
Self-development.
Very good, Juliana. Yes, self-development. Sure. These are the true human values in our life. Do you think that you can slowly grow those things? Can you become self-aware sometime? When you feel angry, can you become self-aware? Oh, I'm angry. I shouldn't speak now. I should control myself. Do you feel that? Hmm? You should increase those moments, to become self-aware. I mean, maybe when you see, candy in the store, maybe when you see a new gadget, a new phone, and oh, I want it. Can you become self-aware of that? Oh, I'm like crazy now. And then ask, do I really need it? Do I really need the candy now? And I can self-control, and maybe you need it, but you can control. Anyway, so you can start practicing. That is real meaning of being human, because human beings can do that, not other beings most of occasions. So now I'd like to open for the discussion. I hope that so let us enjoy being human. Okay, let us enjoy being human. Yes, Adrian.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What a beautiful notion to reflect upon in this time and always. And I appreciate that you're drawing parallels between the teachers and the teachings.
Yeah.
And I've just recently learned about the Advent calendar, and today being the third Sunday, the theme of this Sunday is joy.
Okay, which calendar?
Advent.
Advent. Okay,
Advent.
7th. Okay.
And so you spoke about happiness, how we can, with these three different areas of being human, create our own happiness while we are here through
Yeah.
our development.
Yeah.
And I am just wondering if the Buddha or you all personally have considered the difference between happiness and joy.
Mm.
I've been having this discussion
Yeah.
a lot lately in communities, and also that notion of suffering is such a great teacher, yet so is joy.
Yeah.
So any reflections you have on those things?
Yeah, I think so in English we have this term pleasure and joy, and maybe happiness can be um, so I'm trying to think about the Buddhist terms for these different different states. Yeah. So definitely there is some let's say pleasure or happiness that is related to a physical realm. It can be our physical comfort, can be our sensual gratification, something pleasant to see, smell, taste, and that is called kama sukha, the sensual pleasure. but it's considered very base level, like a very primary level of happiness. It's not called joy even. But it's something we all need, but it's considered it's very basic, a very base level happiness. And then on the top of that, there's another happiness, not the pleasure, but happiness that we get when we benefit others. When someone recognize that different people have different roles in our life. So as a mother, we have a role. As a father, we have a role. As a citizen, we have a role. If someone can fulfill those roles, and as a result of that, there's also a form of happiness, and it is uh, it is also a form of happiness. And then there's another happiness that we can get as a result of our virtuousness in our life. Following virtues, following moral principles, and living a virtuous life. One can reflect one's being, not hurtful and harming, like not like a burden to the others. So the that happiness is called like um, anavajja sukha, like happiness of blamelessness, or happiness of virtuousness. And then of course there are happiness that related to calming of the mind, removing the mind from agitations, and then of course other there are many. The more we come to the mind's area, there are so many levels of happiness. There are different levels of depending on different levels of calmness, there are different levels of happiness. And then it can also go to our deep insight. And the highest happiness is called actually when you deeply realize, for personally experience how exactly this life happens, like how exactly inside of us this our mind, our memory, our previous concept, our new sensory inputs, when these things come together and create this experience, when you directly experience that in your deep meditation, ha, this is how life occurs at every moment. There was not a time that life is started, and there's not a time that life ends. It continuously occurring at every moment, every time, with our senses, with our memory, everything. So, but I'm just talking now, But when you personally directly experience that, and that happiness is called the highest. So, so when it comes to happiness or joy, there are so many levels of happiness. But I can definitely say that there's a physical level of pleasure, but there's a lot of mental level of happiness or joy we can achieve through our behavior, moral behavior, through our training of the mind.
Word samadhi, is that the same? The joy,
Exactly. I didn't use the Pali word. Yes, samadhi. That's the higher joy. We get that's the when we appease the all the agitation of the mind, and that's happiness too. Yeah, samadhi, samadhi. So your discussion about pleasure and joy was all happiness and joy. I mean, I don't know how there are different meanings to this word, right? But joy is usually related to mind, right? Is it? Oh,
And there are lots of different views that have been expressed that I have been exposed to just even the past week. This conversation has been coming up. So,
yeah.
But in simpler terms, it seems that joy is a much more expansive thing.
Yeah,
And within it are these different layers and level of
yeah,
happiness as you were
exactly.
describing.
Yeah. And think about like a mom, even though she's so painful, giving birth to a child, and she has joy, right? So the sometimes joy, even with pain, we can have joy.
I just wanted to say, Ante, I really appreciate the teaching. I think it's very applicable, especially to this period, the holidays. We all have, particularly about the message of like being tolerant towards others and towards their faults. Because I think, during the holidays, we have people visiting, or maybe you're visiting somewhere. You have different family, different groups of people.
People and
It's sometimes it doesn't jive, you know,
Yeah.
correctly between people or groups of people. And
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to ask you more specifically, how do you balance, what is your, I mean, I guess reflection or advice towards balancing, like, I guess being tolerant towards other people and then trying to preserve your own
Values.
your own, you know,
Your own values,
feelings, your own
right?
needs emotionally.
Yeah, I think, of course, I would like it because many of people are here, they have, gone through that. I invite you to share your experience too. Also, the question is very, very valid question, particularly when we are with, large group of people, when we are with the people with different opinions, different, world, different viewpoints. And your question is that, uh, how we can tolerate, other opinions and other viewpoints and other ideologies without sacrificing, right? Without sacrificing, or without abandoning your own values.
I suppose, I mean, maybe I guess towards, you could direct that question towards like differing viewpoints or worldviews, but I guess also just balancing maybe being around negative people or difficult people and being able to be tolerant and loving of those people while also not feeling, I guess, like you're losing a piece of yourself, or you're not like giving more than you're receiving.
Mm-mm. Yeah. I think our spiritual practice is not necessarily about holding a particular view, or holding a particular, let's say, creed. Our spiritual practice is not about like having a fixed view, and it's basically it's about of course we can have certain understanding, but there's nothing for us to defend, as a spiritual practitioner. Because we know that people are in different stages and different levels in their spiritual growth. If someone brought a different point of view, that shows that person is different state, is different in stage in the spiritual path. So therefore, I think being tolerant and even being listening to others, being tolerant to others, and try to understand them does not, does not like what you could does not. Erase anything from us, as long as we're simply not being like uh, um, become a follower of them. Yeah, but we can I think the more we develop the empathy, and more we develop understanding and our willingness to accept, and we're actually enhancing our spiritual qualities. It's not losing anything, actually enhancing. But I think maybe one important thing that we should hold into, that we should never like give up, would be like understanding that suffering, or maybe human suffering is arising due to our blindness, and then due to our craving, and then it is possible human beings have capacity to go beyond that, and human beings are also have a deep potential to overcome them, no matter how you know gloomy they look, how no matter how what kind of darkness we can see in other people, but it's still everyone has that potential to come out, maybe not now, right? So I would say that never sacrifice, never compromise that maybe belief, that acceptance that everyone has that capacity to overcome that, no matter how they are right now. And at the same time, if there's any suffering happening anywhere, that is due to our ignorance or blindness, and also some form of craving, and that will be something that we should never like let go. But other than that, I think accepting and listening and forgiving others do not erase anything. We are not going to lose anything by doing that. I would like you to yeah, yes.
I wanted to say, I think it's at least my observation, it's kind of hard whenever you see someone who's, like, as you kind of mentioned, like they're in like a different stage of development, especially when it's with your own family, because I think
Mm.
you want to identify with these people.
Yes.
Or if you're living with them too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to, I think,
Yeah.
emotionally like separate. If that makes sense.
I think, yeah, I mean, not fully because but I understand, but I think most of these people like have, their own personal experience, that, because personally, maybe I didn't have that strong kind of experience, but I think I understand, but not fully. But I understand your question, but I may not fully understand the real situation that you are in. I may have some idea, but I would like, some of you to share, how do you deal with, your own family, your own, friends who are very close to you, but have a very different viewpoint and very different, way, Thank you. That's a real, real thing that many people experience, except me, maybe. Yeah. Yes, Rebecca, yes. Yes.
I appreciate those comments because I think most of us have had similar experiences. And I can only say from my personal experience, I experienced a lot of guilt because I felt that I should be continuing to support a family member or someone in my family that maybe we just had issues that we couldn't be together. And I felt very guilty about that. And it took a long time for me to, first of all, come back to that person and not worry so much about my guilt, but be more concerned about how do I repair this. And that's something that takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of intention. You really have to focus on this is what I need to do and how am I going to do it. But thank you for that.
So how you deal with people with different opinions, different, ideologies? Yes, yeah.
So I've been in a lot of those situations recently, and I try to keep it on the level of a spiritual practice for myself and find the love that is at the basis of the relationship and also find the common themes of being human. The things that we do share in common of just simply being born into this precious life.
Yeah.
And when I come at it with that lens, as egregious as some of the other views may be that the other person is holding, that stuff just drops away because I realize those are human inventions, boxes that we put ourselves in along the way of our life. And sometimes we put ourselves in this box here at this stage of life, and then this one over here. And we switch our political parties. We switch the way we practice spirituality, whatever. But we're all alive. We're in this amazing experience that we can't even fully understand or explain. And for any of us to think that we have all the answers, I think that is a great falsehood. And so I try to, it takes work, but again, I dip back into the love and the common themes of being alive and human as the bridges that bring us together. And maybe I can meet halfway, that person halfway, listen to them. That's another piece. I love to listen. And then not compromise my view or hold back my voice, but then share my voice, my truth. And sometimes we end up learning from each other. Sometimes it's
That will
always
be the
fun.
perfect situation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe if you first listen, and then hopefully, then they will listen to you when you get your turn, right?
Model that.
Yeah, but
behavior,
yeah.
listening.
Some are not, but maybe if you give real empathetic attention, and I really want to listen to you. Okay, now I listen to you, but would you mind now listening to me, right? So we can, maybe that will be the great thing. Yeah, yeah. Jessica, you have something to say?
Kind of, yeah. You're talking about people that are like just negative, they're walking around pointing out things that are uncomfortable and not like just bad things all the time. They're grumpy and depressed. You can just, if you have the opportunity, just take real space from them. Just let them know like what the way that they are around you doesn't bring you comfort. and that you might need space in that relationship, and that you can come back to it whenever maybe you just have more peace of mind about that person, which I guess is what most people do, right? But I think physical space from people is also helpful for both of you to reflect on the relationship.
Even like after some space, if both realizes their own, issues, they can come back. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope that we all had a good reflection today. To for truly being human. So let's make resolution for the new year. Right? So now it is time for us to do our blessing chant. So I have these special gifts that I'm going to give away to everyone. So these are the Christmas ornaments with nice, nice message inside. We have different terms. We have, hopeful, serenity, blessing, forgiving, generosity, all different things. I'm going to give you randomly. Yeah. So I'm really thankful for our volunteer who took a lot of time to make this, and really take a lot of care and time and love to prepare such a nice piece that can, light up, that can bring, positive feelings to us. So, but this will be a gift from us to you. Okay, yeah. So let's do that. Okay, let's do some. We will listen to the bell and settle your mind, and in the middle, we will do a chant. Okay, let us sit down for a moment and use the sound of the bell to settle your mind. Feel your presence here. Acknowledge that I'm sitting here in this wholesome space, surrounded by loving people. Just bring that awareness that I'm here sitting, surrounded by these loving people. And remember that this ability to become aware of ourselves is an aspect of truly being human. And we can continue to be aware and develop more awareness to our own thoughts, speech, and action, and gradually develop our self mastery. We can gradually develop our ability, our power to create incidents, to create experiences, not always waiting for others or waiting for the environment, but we can create situation with our own words, speech, and thoughts. And recognize the ability that by doing that, we can gradually grow within. We can engage in our self-development and becoming more compassionate, becoming wiser, having more space in our heart. By doing that, we are benefiting many beings with our life. Experience your human nature, experience your human capacity, and determine to use this human form, human life, for the best possible way. We will do this chant wishing you all good health, peace, and happiness, wishing you more strength and courage to overcome difficulties in your life. Throughout this chanting, stay in rejoice, stay in joy of being human, stay in recognition of our human capacity. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Siddhiti mati tejo jaya siddhi mahindi mahagurang aparamita punyadikara sansa sambantara nivarana samanta sansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa danting sama Purisa Lankana-nubhavena Asintya-nubhanjana Lankana-nubhavena Antottara Satamang Lankana-nubhavena Chambang Narangsya-nubhavena Ketumala-nubhavena Dasa paramita nubhavena dasa upaparamita nubhavena dasa paramanta paramita bhavena sila samadhi panya nubhavena buddha nubhavena dhamma nubhavena sangha nubhavena teja nubhavena Nyanubhavena balanubhave Nyaya dhammanubhavena chaturasiti sahasradam Kandanubhavena navalokottara dhammanubhavena Antangika magganubhavena Anta samapantyanubhavena chalabhinyanubhavena metta karuna mudita upekanubhavena sambha paramitanubhavena ratanantaya sarananubhavena tuiham sambharoka soka upam Dukkha domanas supayasa vinas santu sambha sankap tuiham samijjang tu digayuko tu satvasansa jivena samangiko tu sambha Akasa pambatavan bhumi tataka ganga mahasamudra arangaka devat Sadatum me anurakkantu Sambha buddhanubhavena Sambhadam Bhavena Sambha Sanghanubhavena Buddha Ratanang Dhamma Ratanang Sangha Ratanang Tinnang Ratananang Anubhavena Chaturasiti Sa Dhammang Kandanubhavena Pitakadanubhavena Jinasavakanubhavena Sambete roga, sambete bhaya, sambete antaraya, sambete upandava, sambete dunnimit, sambete avamangala vinasantu ayuvandako, dhanavandako, sirivandako, yasavandako, balavandako, vandavandako. Sukhavandako hotu sambhada dukkharoga bhaya vera soka sabbe upanda aneka antaraya pi vinasantu jatejasa jaya siddhi dhanang labha Sotti bhagyang sukhang balang siri ayu ca vanno ca Bogang buddhi ca yasva satvasa ca ayu ca jiva siddhi bhavantu te. We will now distribute this gift, but first of all, I invite Jessica to wish you a happy birthday. Yes, today is her birthday. yeah. Okay, come here. Yes. Okay. So I want to wish you a very happy birthday. Okay, and we will try a birthday blessings.
Awesome.
Sabbe buddha balapata pacheka nanchayam balang arahanta nancha tejena rakkang bandhami sabbe. This is your. This one is. Yes. Okay. Okay, now it's your chance to get a Christmas gift as your a Christmas ornament. Our children already, you got your gifts, right? Yes. So you like to get the blessing strings or blessing strings or so okay, now you can give me the space so the people can come in line and get get the gift. But I really appreciate your patience. I think you are truly human because you develop your self-control. Yes, and in staying calm and peace. You like to have a string? Oh, yeah. Since you got your gifts, I'm going to give this one to big ones. Okay. Yeah. So can you give some space over here? Yeah. Can you start from here?